Welcome to NFL Nexus, where we dive deep into what it really takes to build a champion. And, after a completely jaw-dropping 2025 season, the Houston Texans, they're not the league's feel-good story anymore. No, they are a legitimate threat. With C.J. Stroud playing like he's been in the league for a decade, a hungry young roster, and a front office making some seriously bold moves, that championship window in Houston, it hasn't just been opened, it's been blown clean off its hinges. So the big question on everyone's mind is this: have they done enough this offseason to finally go from a tough contender to a true Super Bowl champion? Let's get into it. So right here, this is the question. This is what every single Texans fan is thinking about right now. Can they actually take that next step? I mean, it's one thing to have a fantastic breakout season, but it is a whole other ballgame to sustain that success and actually reach the top of the mountain. We are going to break down every key move, every player that walked out the door, and every potential new face to answer that question. And hey, if you are as obsessed with roster construction and the chess match of the NFL offseason as we are, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, and of course, like this video. We go this deep on teams all year long, and trust me, you are not going to want to miss it. All right, so before we jump into all the off-season moves, we have to pump the brakes and rewind just a little bit, because to really understand where the Texans are going, you got to appreciate just how far they've come. That 2025 season, it wasn't just a good year. No, it was a franchise-altering, culture-shifting season that put the entire league on notice. Let's just look at the numbers. A 12-5 record in the AFC is impressive, period. But it's how the Texans did it that really turned heads. I mean, that 9-game winning streak, that was not a fluke. That was a straight-up display of dominance. And the foundation of it all was a suffocating defense. Under DeMeco Ryans, this unit completely transformed, ranking second in points allowed. That's not just good, that is championship-level stuff. When you can win games on defense, when you can grind out a tough 17-13 victory on a day where your offense just isn't clicking, you are built for the playoffs. So as the offseason started, GM Nick Caserio had a challenge that, let's be honest, most GMs would kill for. How do you take a great team and make it a Super Bowl favorite? And believe me, Caserio did not rest on his laurels. Not for a second. He attacked the offseason with the exact same aggression that his defense attacks opposing quarterbacks. The strategy was crystal clear. Don't just maintain what you have, elevate it. He wasn't out there looking for stopgap players or Band-Aid solutions. He was hunting for absolute game changers to turn a playoff team into a juggernaut. Let's look at the areas they really went after. This slide right here really lays out the Texans' entire philosophy this offseason. It's kind of like a three-pronged attack. First, and this is the most important one, build a fortress around your young superstar quarterback. Second, double down on what you're already great at. Your secondary is elite? Okay, let's make it the best in the entire league. And third, you add those crucial veteran pieces that bring in versatility and leadership. This wasn't just about throwing money at problems. This was a surgical, strategic plan to build a truly complete roster. Look, when you have a quarterback like C.J. Stroud, protecting him is priority number 1, number 2, and number 3. And the Texans absolutely treated it that way. They went out and got Wyatt Teller, one of the best run-blocking guards in the entire league. This is a guy who moves bodies and just sets a physical tone. Then, they weakened a division rival by grabbing Braden Smith, a rock-solid right tackle. These are instant, high-impact upgrades. We're talking about 2 guys who will immediately make the entire offense better, not just in pass protection, where a guy like Stroud's passer rating jumps by over 30 points when he's kept clean, but in blasting open running lanes for Dameon Pierce. And they didn't stop there. By bringing in versatile vets like Evan Brown and re-signing Trent Brown, they've built a deep, talented O-line room that can handle the injuries that always happen over a long season. This is just a masterclass in protecting your most valuable asset. Now this is what separates the good teams from the truly great ones. They don't just fix their weaknesses, they turn their strengths into actual superpowers. The Texans secondary, with Derek Stingley Jr. looking like a true lockdown corner and Kalen Bullock emerging as a star, that group was already a huge problem for offenses. So what did they do? They added Reed Blankenship, a smart, tough, championship-proven safety. He's the kind of guy who is just always in the right place at the right time. Adding him to that group makes the secondary arguably the best in the entire AFC. And then on offense, the Foster Moreau signing is one of those quiet, under-the-radar moves that ends up paying off in a huge way. He's an elite blocking tight end, which is a massive boost for the running game and lets them run more 2 tight end sets, creating all kinds of mismatches and keeping defenses totally off balance. It's a move that makes the whole offense more physical and a lot more unpredictable. But, building a roster in the NFL, it's a zero-sum game. For every player you bring in, you often have to say goodbye to another. And while the Texans made some massive additions, they also suffered some key losses that are going to create some new challenges. So let's take a look at the areas where the Texans might have actually taken a small step back. Okay, let's be clear here. Worse is a really strong word for a team this talented. But in the NFL, where the margins between winning and losing are just razor thin, even a small downgrade at a key spot can be the difference in a playoff game. And in these three areas, the Texans lost proven, productive guys, and that creates some real uncertainty heading into the season. The lifeblood of a dominant D-line is a deep rotation. You have to have guys who can come in and give you quality snaps to keep your stars fresh for the fourth quarter. And the Texans lost two of those key rotational guys in Tim Settle and Mario Edwards. Yeah, bringing back Sheldon Rankins was a huge priority. But now, who steps up next to him? Can Tommy Togiai make that leap from just a role player to a consistent starter? Or are the Texans going to have to use a high draft pick to fill that void? It's honestly one of the biggest question marks on the entire roster, and it's a potential weak point that, opposing offenses are going to try to exploit. The loss of Christian Kirk might not be grabbing all the headlines, but it leaves a pretty significant hole in that offense. He was Stroud's safety blanket on third down, right? The guy you could always count on to find the soft spot in a zone defense. Now the pressure is squarely on Nico Collins and a hopefully healthy Tank Dell to carry the load, and on a young, unproven player to step up into that crucial number 3 spot. And seriously, do not sleep on the loss of Tommy Townsend. An all-pro punter is a legitimate weapon. Townsend could consistently pin teams deep inside their own territory, which is a massive advantage for your defense. Handing those duties over to a young player who kind of struggled last season, Kai Kroger, well, that's a big gamble, and it's a weakness that could get exposed in the biggest moments. So with all their major free agent signings in the building, the Texans now turn their attention to the NFL draft. This is where you can find young, talented, and most importantly, affordable players to fill these remaining holes. This is how you sustain a championship window in a salary cap league. So let's look at some of the prospects who could be on their radar. Think of it this way. Free agency is where you build the foundation of a contender. But the draft is where you find those key pieces that put you over the top. The Texans, under Caserio and Ryans, have shown a really clear preference for tough, smart, high-character players. They're not just looking for great athletes, they're looking for great football players. So with that in mind, let's dive into a few prospects who just feel like they fit that mold and could be wearing Texans colors next season. First up, let's talk about that need on the interior defensive line. A name that just keeps coming up in connection with the Texans is Oklahoma's Grayson Holton. I mean, if you are looking for a player who just embodies the culture DeMeco Ryans is building, it is this guy. The scouting report on him can pretty much be summed up in one word: relentless. He has a non-stop motor that just drives offensive linemen crazy. And that relentless motor, it's not just for show. It translates to absolutely elite production. Leading all defensive tackles in the entire country in pressure rate, that is a staggering achievement. It tells you he is a constant disruptive force. And he combines that motor with a lightning-quick first step that lets him just live in the opponent's backfield. Now, imagine you're an opposing quarterback. You've already got Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter breathing down your neck from the outside, and now you've got this 300-pound wrecking ball collapsing the pocket from the inside. There's simply nowhere to go. That right there is a recipe for a truly dominant pass rush. All right, next up, finding a receiver who can take the top off the defense and fill that void left by Christian Kirk. And when you are looking for just pure, unadulterated speed, Brennan Thompson's name is right at the top of the list. This guy is a legitimate track star playing in football pads, and that kind of speed is a total game changer. The value of a player like Thompson goes way beyond his own stats. His speed completely changes how a defense has to play you. A safety just can't cheat up to help on Nico Collins or Tank Dell when he knows Thompson can blow right by him at any moment. That creates all this space and easier throws for C.J. Stroud in the middle of the field. He is the perfect complementary piece to this receiving core, a home run threat who makes life easier for everybody else. And for a quarterback with Stroud's arm talent, having a weapon like that is a defensive coordinator's absolute worst nightmare. And finally, you can never have enough smart, tough, versatile linebackers in DeMeco Ryans' defense. You just can't. And the Texans might not have to look very far to find their next one. Down in Lubbock, Texas, Tech's Jacob Rodriguez is exactly the kind of player that this coaching staff just loves. Rodriguez is the kind of guy who just makes your team better. He's a throwback, an instinctive, physical linebacker who plays the game the right way. You could almost see a young DeMeco Ryans when you watch his tape. But in today's NFL, you have to be more than just a thumper, and Rodriguez is. He proved to the combine that he has the speed and agility to be a real factor in the passing game, covering tight ends and running backs. He's the kind of high-floor, high-character player you can plug into your defense and special teams on day one and just not have to worry about him. He's a football player, plain and simple.
So, after all the big money signings, the tough goodbyes, and all the draft speculation, what is the bottom line? We've seen the plan. We've seen all the moves. Have the Houston Texans finally done enough to go from a great story to a Super Bowl champion?
When you step back and look at the totality of the Texans' offseason, the strategy isn't just clear, it's brilliant. Nick Caserio has executed a textbook blueprint for a team that's in its championship window. Step 1. Be aggressive in free agency to lock down your strengths and protect your stars. Step 2. Use the draft to fill in the remaining gaps with young, cheap talent. This isn't just about winning in 2026. This is about building a team that can compete for a Super Bowl for the next 5 years. It is a masterclass in modern roster construction. So the pieces are in place. A superstar quarterback on a rookie contract. An elite defense. A smart, aggressive front office. The Texans have checked every single box. But as we all know, championships are not won on paper. So now we turn the question over to you. Have the Texans done enough to finally bring a Lombardi trophy to Houston? Is it Super Bowl or bust? Let us know what you think down in the comments. We read every single one. And hey, if you want to support what we're doing here at NFL Nexus and get something awesome for the football fan in your life, check out our custom coloring books. They're a really great way to share your passion for the game, perfect for children, grandchildren, and adults too. You can find the link in the description or just scan the QR code right there on your screen. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.